Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laureli Shimayo. This is our MeWe Awakening panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and online, and we gathering together for our Awakening panel tonight. There are 7 of us on the panel. We will be introducing ourselves and then answering questions from the audience. It's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. The practitioners will all go through and introduce ourselves first. We'll do 2 or 3 minute introductions so you get a chance to know who we are and what we're offering and how we approach questions, just all the ways we work with people. And then we'll be doing questions from the audience. It's free to be here to listen and learn, and a small price to ask us a question. And you can ask a question in particular at anything tonight. You always can ask about anything, but really like full range of all kinds of things today. I'll be putting information in the chat shortly on all the practitioners, their contact info, and many of us have specials tonight. Practitioners, if I don't have your special, feel free to send it to me. And after we do all the intros, I'll share just a little bit more context about how we answer questions and how we aim to honor you in the process, and then we'll get started with questions. We do request that you pay first, PayPal or Venmo. All the information on how to do that's in the chat. If you have any questions or problems with that, let me know. And after you've paid, it would be great if you could just put a note in the chat so that I know to get you in line. I don't think we have anyone in line yet, so you can get right to the front of the line. And more people are coming in. All right, let's see. So I guess let's go through in a similar order that we did when we were doing Facebook Live just a few minutes ago. We'll have maybe we'll have Grace and Vanessa go with each other. Maybe that's a good thing, I think, since you're doing things together. So go ahead, Grace and Vanessa, like however you want to combine it and do it together. And then we'll have, Kai, and then Lisa and Mike and Adria. All right, great. So Grace and Vanessa, create some combined intro.
Hello. I am Grace Evergreen.
And I'm Vanessa Perry.
And we are the 2 halves of Freud's Angels podcast. We specialize working with our heart and our mind, reconnecting the disconnect, understanding what is there. I myself personally am an intuitive angel reader and energy healer. I work a lot with clearing some cellular memory when we release trauma, when we are healing parts of ourselves and our emotions. There's a vacancy that we leave. And so part of what I do is I help fill that space with energy, with love, so that it is a true release, a permanent release, and not just leaving a vacant space for backfill, for that feeling or that energy you just released to come back. And it's a powerful way to create true healing. I myself have healed from a chronic illness that I have dealt with for 13 years. I work a lot with that heart and mind connection and trying to reconnect it so that you can create your heart's desire, that you can live the life that you choose, as well as trying all the things that you maybe are afraid to try. So you can reach me at graceevergreen.com, and Freud's Angels is freudsangels.com. Vanessa?
Hi, I am Vanessa Perry. I am a mental health therapist turned intuitive counselor. Through my own spiritual journey, I found what Grace is talking about is that 360 effect. And when I started to apply that to my work, I started to realize how much better it was for my clients to understand their energy bodies and nutrition and all of those kind of things in addition to the mind. So Grace and I have been friends for a very long time. So coming together to create this podcast was pretty easy for us, and bringing the 2 halves together, I think became, it was just inevitable once we started to do this podcast. So we're happy, to be doing that and bringing not only every week, the talks that we do, just free information basically, but also the offerings that we have as that team of the 360 healing. So with me being the intuitive counselor, I take what my intuitive hits are giving me and I lead my clients into those spaces that they need to go into in their mind and the psyche. I run everything through my filter of my clinical counseling career and apply spiritually, what needs to be done. And we together have an offering that we call the Trauma Cleanse. And it is a combination of the two. So we're both working intuitively, which is great because we're spirit led and spirit is helping us. But we kind of unearthed some of the stuff that needs to be unearthed so that we can heal it. And then Grace comes in and brings that love and that light and backfills it with love. And it's really, truly a great experience for anybody who wants to just kind of get a jump start on their healing. So we are offering that at a discount. So I'm sure that will be in the chat.
Great. Thanks so much, Grace and Vanessa. So then Kai.
My goodness, how does one follow that? Anyway, my name is Kai. I'm a Hawaiian kahuna. And what I do is I actually work a lot with energy myself. My specialty is actually removing negative energy and entities from people, places, and things. I can do it at a distance. I've cleared things across state lines. I've actually done things in the past. I do a lot of things. Wherever energy goes, I can work there. And I talk a lot about energy protection in terms of shields, because I think it's something that everybody needs to work on. If they're not, especially now with the energy being so strange with everything that's going on in the world, protecting your own energy body at this point is really important. The other thing I like to do, as I said earlier on the Facebook Live, is that I like to help people recognize who they are, what they do, and just enjoy their gifts, whatever it happens to be. That's one of the things I like, seeing that aha moment when someone who's working with energy goes, oh my gosh, I figured it out finally. I love that. And I try to put myself in situations where that can happen more often. One of the things I do is I help people to get rid of stuff that's not necessary. I work on energy blocks, and I do a lot of the things that Grace does with that backfill business, because nature abhors a vacuum. We've heard that before. And so I do the same thing. Like, once you take something out, you put something good in. And yeah, so that's me.
Thanks so much, Kai. Lisa, and then Mike.
Thank you, Laureli. Hey, everyone. I am Lisa Stewart of Sigil Magic Goddess. I call myself a creative mixed medium. As an intuitive business coach, I help mystics like you find the courage to co-create your business vision using your intuition to grow your confidence and your income. I've built several hundred products over the years and sold them around the world, and I did this co-creating with spirit. You can say I know how to manifest. I use this experience to teach you how to work with moon phases and tarot to effectively grow your business. And the one thing that gets me charged up is when people find the courage to create and inspire themselves to keep going to pursue their dreams. And this speaks to my movement to help people find the courage to co-create with spirit. There are a variety of ways that we can work together. So if you're feeling stuck, uninspired, or just want to get started in your business, let's work together to conjure some magic. I've got a number of things going on to help you where you're at. Part of being a business coach is also helping with brand messaging, your design, your marketing, and your websites. I also talk about how to utilize and integrate the 4 energies as structure in your business. Currently, I have 2 workshops to help you build your business. One, how to start a business when you don't know where to start, and brand your magic message. This is going to help you talk about how to change lives with your gifts. Plus, I also have tarot and oracle readings for your business and Mystic Mentor by the Minute for any burning questions. So feel free to check out my website, Sigil Magic Goddess, to learn more. You can find me on all the socials. You can also participate in my Mystic Makers portal on Meetup to effectively grow your business with a community. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lisa. Mike.
My name is Mike Hernandez, and I'm known as the Tarot Sage. As the name implies, all I do is tarot. Except for health issues, I can help you with just about anything you can think of. I just recently developed a performer's analysis reading, which is a 3-part reading that delves into your current state of being, then how that affects your performance, whether you're an actor or a dancer or a musician or a public speaker, doesn't matter. How that affects your performance. And then the third reading talks about what you can do to maximize those strengths that you have and deal with the challenges that you have in those areas. I've been doing this a long time. I did it a lot up in the Pacific Northwest. And I had a lot of Microsoft clients talk about A and B sides of the brain. So I'm pretty well adept at being able to explain just about anything. So you can find more information about me on justenoughtarot.com, and I look forward to answering questions.
Thanks so much, Mike. Adria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adria, and I create offerings as art and channel. I am a priestess in the Avalon tradition, and I use tarot as part of the clarity sessions that I offer. I also really, really love water. Not only am I named for an ocean, but I live near the ocean, and I create energy sprays. I go around and I hand harvest spring water, and then I create gem essence alchemy sprays. And so all of this is on my website that I think Laureli is collecting all of our resource information. So I love giving water blessings through ceremony and ritual. And primarily my real passion in life is to help people channel the heart of living, and whatever that art, that expression, the manner of being in the world, and to really connect with the heart channel. So I am very, very pleased to be here this evening and to open to the abyss of anything and everything.
Great. Yeah, and Adria was saying it's the first time she's in one of our MeWe events. Really exciting. I have new practitioners, and many that are on the panel have only been in a few of our events. So keep like rolling over and including new practitioners. Great fun. Oh, and for those of you that are online in all kinds of distances, it's thrilling being able to connect online. We have some Pacific Northwest events in person now too. So some of us are getting to meet in person. So I'll share a little bit more about me. I'm a practitioner on the panel as well. And then practitioners, if you've thought of anything else that you do that you want to jump in and mention, feel free to do that afterwards. As I think about that, I'm getting out my book. So one of the things that I do, I read people's eyes. I'm an intuitive eye reader. My name is Laureli Shimayo, and some of what I read in people's eyes is in my book. That topic is about the 7 talents that I read in people's eyes. There are 7 talents that describe what we naturally value and contribute, how we can feel the most fulfilled. We each have 3 of these talents, and they point towards our purpose. So I answer questions about your soul. Eyes are a window to your soul. I use archetypes to describe your soul and your purpose and your lessons, and answer questions about your path, career path, relationships you're in, relationships you want to be in. We can, I do love to use this word for matchmaking. I have a theory of who I think makes a great connection or soulmate. Yeah, just all kinds of different things. So I'm about practical applications, you understanding you, growing and being the best you that you can be, who to connect with, what situations to connect in that allow you to express your purpose, feel joy and fulfillment, and hopefully have others feel the same thing. Yeah, and so books, and I do a little bit of card reading with O cards. I don't have them up here right now, but we've got other people that are reading cards tonight. Yeah, and I pick up all kinds of things about your body and your posture as well. So I particularly love to see you on video so I can see your eyes, and also so that I can see your body as you're talking and you're answering questions. And posture and gesture and all those things mean a ton. I pick up a lot in my body. I described it recently. It's almost when I look at someone, I don't know if it's that like I let their energy infuse into me, but it's like I feel, I kind of imagine what it's like being that person. And that's part of how I pick up what's the things that I pick up in people. All right, great. Well, yeah, so that's me. So I might be doing some eye readings tonight. And yeah, so practitioners, is there anything else you want to share about what you do? Hearing some of us share often can spark like, oh yeah, I could say that I've done that too, or that I offer that. Or yeah, and if you just feel free to unmute and jump in. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you, Laureli. As a seer, I have the ability to see the bigger picture for your business and guide you on the right path for rapid growth. So, for instance, when I met a woman who created lotions many years ago, I saw that she was going to launch a spa in New York City. She did. She opened two. And for others, I've seen books in their future to help launch their careers, and it's different for everyone. And today, I would like to introduce that I am launching a new Oracle deck, beginning with the energies. So, as I mentioned, I match energies with different aspects of your business, and I think that you'll be able to see some of that here tonight. So thanks so much. And oh, by the way, on an unrelated note, I can call my spirit kitties back from the cosmos. I have a spirit kitty, Chardonnay, who is my spirit animal and often visits me in the mundane world, walking all over me in bed. So if you have had an animal that's moved from this world to the next and you'd like more information on what steps you can take to rekindle your energetic relationship, I'm happy to share that with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, just practitioners, just an opportunity. Anything else you want to share before I give
Sure.
context?
I'll just share that I'm also a poet, and so I release a new and original poem through my newsletter that I have in correspondence with the Wheel of the Year, the Celtic Wheel of the Year. And we're coming upon Beltane, which is a beautiful fire festival. And so for those of you who are interested in receiving some original poetry, that is going to be going out either Friday or Saturday. So hop on board.
Great. Yeah, practitioners, anything else before we?
Hi, I'm Nadine. My friend connected me with this link tonight, and I'm not sure what we're doing here.
Yeah, how it all works. It's great. Yeah.
I'm kind of a lost practitioner. I kind of crashed and burned and trying to come back, and I haven't been practicing. I used to be that was my joy,
Well,
working
Nadine,
people.
let me tell-
Yeah, if you could.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little of how this works. Yeah. So we have different new people on tonight. So this is our panel. On our panels, we have a set of practitioners that we've selected ahead of time to be on the panel. So you can see all of our names start with P. So there's 7 of us tonight. And so we just introduced ourselves. So you get an idea of who we are and how we work. And then it's free to be here to listen and learn. And it's a small price to ask a question of a panel. And so it sounds like in your share, like I totally can imagine that you have some ripe questions and ways
Yeah,
that
you were hitting some nerves with me. Yeah,
that we might support you in this. And so we ask that people pay ahead of time. It's sliding scale. It's 20 to 28. You choose how much you want to pay. It's $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. So just as if you, I don't think anyone has paid yet. I'm checking so I don't think we have anyone online. So if anyone wants to ask a question of the panel, and you'll typically hear answers from most of us or possibly all of us, just pay and let us know and you'll get in line. And a few things just to set the stage before we start answering. It's a public forum. We are recording and it's going to be published online. So if you can always give us guidance when you ask, like just stay in this zone when you answer, or if we go deeper than you want us to go, or we start talking about other topics that you don't want us sharing about here, please interrupt us till we come back to how we can honor you in our answer.
okay.
It's a great opportunity for everyone to practice opening to your intuition. You might want to have something to write with, anything that comes through you at all. You may have already had messages come through. Take
Lots
notes,
of things are coming through. Yeah.
It's great. I'd say just for everybody. Yeah. So take notes, draw.
I'm not sure how to pay, so I don't know.
It's on PayPal and Venmo, and I put it in the chat again. It's just right here in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. I'm very challenged technically. So
Well, let's see. Do you use PayPal?
Here it is.
If you click the link and it'll just open for you and you can log in. And but I just want to say for everybody too that so it's a great opportunity to open to your intuition to see if what comes through you is similar to things that we share. You, of course, might have something come through you that we happen to not share, and it may be equally valid. And please allow the attention to stay up on the panel today. if something does come through you for someone that asks a question, please hold that until we finish answering their questions. And then feel free to private message them in the chat and see if they'd like to hear what came through you for potentially for them. And please honor whatever they share. They might feel full and not want any more right then, and trust that it came through you for some other reason. And I think those are all the basic things I have to share before we start answering questions. And Kai's got something else to share. Go ahead, Kai.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I'm actually going to post the link to the book that I wrote that's called When Things Go Bump in the Night. And what that is about is, I guess, my stories and teaching people about if you think you might have something in your house that's not a person, then, you know, like these are the things that you look for and then what you can do about it afterwards. Because I get that question quite a lot. Like, you know, I'm hearing footsteps, I'm hearing stuff fall, I'm hearing scratching, I'm hearing all this other stuff. What do I do about it? And, you know, that's always the question is like, okay, yes, I hear all this stuff. Now what? So in the book, I tell you, now what? Like, this is what you do. These are your options. And yeah, so.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I know Daniel had an idea of, but yeah, Nadine, if you want to be the first one in line, just let us know when you've paid and we will leap you right
I
in.
can't figure it out is what I'm trying to do.
Sure, there's some other options. Do you have a card? Because I can charge it on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So y'all, I'm gonna let you, so let's see, Daniel had an idea of a question. So Daniel, I'll let you come online and you can ask the question. Nadine and I will go in a breakout room and we'll be right back. And then we'll get started with Nadine.
Thank you.
All right, Nadine, I'm going to put you and me in a breakout room.
A breakout room. Okay.
Laureli,
Yeah.
are you saying that I'm asking a question now?
Well, if you could just ask the question and get them started talking about, just get us in a casual conversation about what you were suggesting.
Okay.
And there is no theme
I'll see.
there's no theme, right? This is an everything and everything open, no theme. You usually have a question. I didn't quite get exactly if you did, but I think that you might. So practitioners,
Well,
go ahead and see if there's any general conversation you want to have before we get started.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Hi.
Oh, let's turn off the recording.
Isn't created until, in many cases, a sigil isn't created until I understand what the question is and what I want the outcome to be. And so I may do a tarot spread and it may be 5 cards and I may be after something that is going to protect me or empower me. And so as I lay out the card spread, I find the story and then I pull keywords from that story to then build the elements for the sigil. So though I have a glossary of sigil elements that I'll combine to create that sigil. And over time, I'm developing my own style. So that way it is unique. And if you go on my website, you'll see very quickly how my style has changed and evolved. And my background includes a lot of calligraphic illustrations of cats and dogs. I love animals. And of course, lots of other inanimate objects. And so by taking that and taking that calligraphic line and applying it to the elements to help hone the overall aesthetic of the sigil so that when people do find it, the sigils that are already on there, they're more than welcome to borrow. So I've got like a pet protection sigil, I've got a protesting sigil and things like that. And you can borrow those and you can use them on your person. You can use it as a tattoo. You can embroider it on a special cloth. You can wood burn it. You can do whatever you want with the sigils that I've created on my website. And then also what I will do is offer custom sigils for people who want to develop products or logos for products or their businesses. And that is usually my process. Does that help?
Yeah, no, actually that's perfect because my personal thing is I was thinking about, I've been, contemplating logos. And I mean, even though I have graphic skills and I can make a logo, it's like it seemed like something was missing. And then, like I said, I popped up this morning with the word sigil in my head and I was like, who do I know that makes those? I'm like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah.
So you're going to be at the Bellevue Fair this weekend, right?
I am.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to talk to you about that this weekend.
Fabulous. Thank you, Kai.
Sure.
Does anybody else have any questions on sigils?
That's great. I was going to say too, if we don't have anyone in line at the moment and the person decided not to stay and not to ask a question, practitioners, we have an opportunity that we can always ask questions of each other too. So we can ask the panel a question. It's free and included with being on the panel if we don't have anyone in line. Yeah. Let's see, get information on what we're doing again. We had someone new just join us.
I have a question. Is it, help me if I'm saying this wrong, Adria? Is that how you had mentioned doing water ceremony? Is that something?
Yeah, so I do ceremony, and as a part of the ceremony and working with the elements, I usually do a water blessing portion of the ceremony, and I go around. Well, I haven't been around the world lately, but at least in the places that have been drivable to where I live, I go and I hand harvest spring water. And I do still have spring water from the Chalice Well in Glastonbury, England, that I use in some of my alchemy products. And that's the water that I use in ceremony for the water blessings. And I have a very specific priestess vow to protect the resource of water, and to use that also in the creative process, which can also have a ceremonial container around it.
And is that what type, like, why would someone want to ceremony? Is it, what is and forgive me if I'm being obtuse, but what is the purpose of the ceremony, so to speak?
Well, there are different ceremonies that they're always in correspondence with the wheel of the year. So recently I offered a very small group ceremony for spring renewal. And I am going to do a rose ceremony in May that will really kind of unfold some of those energies, because we're getting into the activation of growing season, and there's so much fertility coming through, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, as we move into the quickening of the season, moving towards solstice, summer solstice. So the ceremonies that I do are always very connected to what is happening in the earthly realm.
Yes, which is perfect. And where are you in the Pacific Northwest, or?
I'm on the north coast of Oregon. So Portland is the nearest city to me.
I would love to connect.
I would love that too.
I'm in Vancouver, Washington, so
okay.
I'm super close to the coast. But yeah, I would love to connect. And because I was perusing your website and I didn't see anything that mentioned the ceremonies, and I wanted to just get more information. Thank you.
Yeah, the ceremonies, I haven't been putting them out as events recently. So those have been very small groups lately. And those are more I've been mentioning those more on my newsletter. So.
All right, thank you.
But yeah, I look forward to connecting. Thank you so much. I'm always very passionate to speak about water.
Yes.
Great. And it looked like Cloudy Waffles has some general questions. And yeah, the Venmo's embedded in that, what I just posted. It's at Laureli Shimayo. And then you've got my phone number there if you want to confirm my phone number, if someone wants to pay that way. Yeah, and you had some general questions. Feel free if you want to mention the general questions too. But you might be wanting to ask a question too and you want to go pay.
Okay, hey ladies.
Oh, we can't hear you well.
Can you hear me? My phone, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this to work.
Yeah, that's better if you're closer to the phone.
Okay, is that working now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So I channel. So anybody that I've ever channeled has had friends and relatives around them. Always nice friends, relatives, helpful, giving them encouragement, giving them words of, love. So I was going to Mexico with this lady to get stem cell treatment because I've been sick. And I was thinking about her in bed, and instead of seeing friends and family around her, it wasn't friends and family around her. It was about maybe 10 or 12 various age little Black children. And I was like, well, this is really weird. Like, I've never seen anything like this ever, ever, ever. I've channeled my whole life. Like, what is up with this? So I'm like, hey, kids, what's up? Why are you hanging out with this person? And they were like, just here. And I'm like, so do you have something to do with her illness? And they were like, mm-hmm. And I was like, can you tell me about that? And they're like, mm-mm. So I go to Mexico with this lady, and she is got the worst energy of, I think, anybody I have ever been around in my entire life. Just horrific. So I'm like, that's really strange. So then I'm like laying in bed and I'm thinking of her and these little children. And I'm like, what is up with this? I don't get this. I've never seen anything like this before. I have no idea what to do about this. It's like really weird. And I'm not going to say anything to her because I don't like go around telling people I channel, right? So I like, after I find out how she is, because I only knew her through Facebook, I'm like, so kids, like, why are you hanging out with her? Like, what do you have to do with her illness? And it was kind of like they said, well, she's a better person until she's a nicer person, because she really is. She's like really not a nice person. I mean, she's like mean and rude and inconsiderate and selfish and like a really, really difficult person to be around. They were like, we're not going to let her get better. So this is her health history. She would like have something come up, like real health issues, like her tendon split and she got that fixed. And then her hip went out and she got that fixed. And then her jaw went out and she got that fixed. And then, I mean, just like consecutive illnesses, like she would get one thing fixed and then something else would come up. And then she'd get something else and then get that fixed and then something else would come up. So does anybody, and Kai, actually, we ended on really bad terms because she was like, I don't know, she ended up not liking me very much. But I sent her your information, Kai, because I was like, I mean, I think maybe this woman could help you. But does anybody have any idea what that is about? Because I have never seen anything like that before.
And you've particularly never seen like a group of little children hanging around them, or also saying
it's always
say
like
they're
it's always
connected
like
to
friends
illness
and
and wouldn't
family
answer.
that are helpful. Yeah, it's always friends and family that are helpful, that are giving loving advice, encouragement, not 10 little unrelated children that are like being like, yeah, like she's sick and yeah, we're not going to let her get better. Like, what's up with that? I've never seen anything like that before, ever. Freaked me out.
Yeah, go ahead, Kai.
Anybody? Kai, I referred her to you, and she's a lovely person. I'll tell you that. Maybe somewhere in there deep, but like it freaked me out.
Okay, well, what I got first off is that all what they're doing is it's a past life karmic thing is what I got for her. And so
that's kind of what I was thinking.
And so she is yeah, so she's carried it through from a previous life. And apparently my sense of it is that she wasn't a good person previously. And so, you know, then she carried it through. And so she's, in other words, like she didn't learn the lessons the first time, so it's coming back again.
Yeah.
You know, so, and in your case, because of your perception, you're seeing them as, you know, little children and not seeing them as family members or whatever, but they're actually, my sense of them is that they're not even human. So can I help her? Potentially, maybe, I don't know. I would
know.
actually have to, yeah,
I don't know. I referred her to you because I was like, I would have no freaking idea what to even if I talked to her, which I don't really, because like I said, we ended on very bad terms because she's like not an expert.
Yeah, well, it's
like,
because, you know,
it's like, okay, here's somebody who
is,
might be able to help you if you want to reach out to her. That's like, that relieves my thing.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
it's
here's,
like,
thank you.
yeah, no, it's just a matter of her energy is, she has to make her own choices. She's making her own decisions about what she's doing. And, your best bet is to just step away from that because,
did.
yeah, and then just let go of it. So if she calls me, she calls me. If she doesn't, she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
just the way
I'm
the
like,
universe works, and that's just how it is. So at this
Right.
point, you've done your part.
I've
You
done
can
what
let it
done
go.
my job.
Yeah,
I've
you
done
can
my
let it
job.
go.
Bye-bye. Okay, so here's the other one.
Oh,
So
wait,
I'm
can
a
I say something about
minimalist.
this one?
Oh,
I
sorry.
want to say something about
Yeah,
this.
Yeah,
yeah.
Laura wants to say something.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing her eyes, so I can't say specifically about her. But one of the talents is called server. Server is about love and intimacy and deep connection through the heart. And sometimes servers have events happen in life or past life. Their journey is that they close down and they shut down their heart and they become the most bitter and mean people. And the way to reverse this is to love themselves, but they have to know that they're worthy. And so if they're judging based on what everyone else, how people treated them, and they had some bad experiences and they've shut down, right? They're the only ones that can unwind it. Really, all of our lessons, right? We're the only one ultimately that can unwind it. And sometimes, right, we catch ourselves in something and it just like worse and worse. And like we're surrounding ourselves with that energy all the time. So people always like we all can do this potentially. And the other thing I was thinking is that some people have to hit a version of bottom where it's so painful, whatever that bottom is for them, that has them be willing to reverse and go in another direction. And so this is a way that the energy of the universe is potentially like supporting being caught in that place until something shifts and changes. Yeah.
So weird. So here's another weird one. More weird for you guys. So how do I put this? So I've had like a prompting for about 6 months ago. It started, and the prompting was to have a storage of food stuffs. And like I live in North Carolina, and we have tornadoes and stuff. So like if
So
you know,
we missed one
we-
one word was hard to hear. You had a something in Georgia booth, or I couldn't quite.
Oh no, so I live in North Carolina, and I had a prompting a few months ago to store food. Did you hear that?
Yep, prompting a few months ago to store food. Yeah, in North
Yes.
Carolina. Mhm.
So and so I have food here because like we have tornadoes and get snowed in sometimes. So I have, like a few weeks of food storage. But it was like store food. And I'm like, no, I'm not storing food. That's ridiculous. No, I'm not doing that. You need to store food. No, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. You need to store some food. No, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'll store some freaking food. So then I start talking to some other people who are like psychics ever. And they're like, yeah, we got that same message too. And I'm like, really? That's interesting. So have any of you all received that message?
I haven't particularly, but I know like what's going on in various parts of the world right now, right? So definitely coming up. And you look at the astrological forecast of the year, there definitely are some bumpy spots that we're supposed to hit. Vanessa has something. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah, so actually, I have been getting the message not to store food, but to grow food.
Well,
So,
same thing. Like there's going to be something around food, but you're going to need some damn food.
Exactly. And like, and I will be honest with you, for probably the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 months, a lot of people that I've been around that are also intuitives, I've been noticing that there's been a lot of like disruption in their lives. And a lot of us like around, end of May, June, July, like there's a lot of disruption that's planned in their lives, and mine included. So when you said that, I was like, oh, okay. Like that makes sense to me, because it's something that I used to enjoy doing just because, like, I like gardening, I like growing vegetables and everything, but it's almost like I now have an aversion to going to the store to buy food, because it's like, you need to be self-sustaining, and I have been getting that message, and actually practicing how to be more creative in feeding myself so that I'm not relying. And then I'm seeing like, things on Facebook of people having trouble getting formula for their babies, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that it's something. I'm not getting too much beyond that, but it is just, to me, like I've learned to just follow that. Whether or not it makes sense is not for me to know in this moment, but it's just follow.
I tried to I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. No, no, no. And they're like, yeah, you are. I'm like, okay, I guess I will.
Right. And for me, it's like, I mean, it's to the point where like I'm in a space where I have to move house, and I'm contemplating areas I would never have contemplated before because of this, saying, well, if this is what I need to be doing, I can't be doing that here. I need to go somewhere where I can do that. And it's very like, I have this calmness about me, which isn't normal for this kind of situation. So again, like, I just feel like those are, we're getting the message, and just going with it is really, whatever it is that we'll find, it may be small, right? It may be so small as that it becomes an act of service later to somebody that needs it. But hey, we're getting the message. Let's just do it.
I was just wondering what everybody else is experiencing. That's kind of like, I mean, like really, I was like, yeah, no.
Adria's got something to share about it too. Oh, and I should say,
Yeah,
so
I just
those of
want
you,
to.
I was going to say, those of you that arrived late, we decided to pivot. We aren't having a fair today. We're having a panel. So this is our panel on anything and everything. And we haven't had anyone pay to ask a question yet. I think it's coming shortly. And so we're talking about some more general topics first. So that's what's happening today. Go ahead, Adria.
Sure. I just want to offer practical priestess perspective on this, which is around this sense of clarity comes when the clarity comes, and not a moment sooner. And that if the clear message that continues to arrive is store food, at this point, that's what is clear. What is not yet clear is what you're meant to do with this food. And maybe it's such that you will need to use this food for yourself. And maybe it's such that you are going to start donating food to some of your local outreaches, or maybe you will be able to create a community effort for your local food bank or for some of the Ukrainian refugees. But that clarity will come. It's so aggravating to the human mind to not yet know what that is, but to just take a deep breath. And also, it could be guidance that helps support people reconnecting with the earth. Like Vanessa was saying, the call to grow your own food is also a very healing aspect of what our planet needs right now. Our planet needs more people coming into that resonance, coming into the seasons and the cycles, and that actual, we've spent so much time in the last 10 to 20 years creating virtual worlds. And this is a way to get really physical, to ground and anchor the energy on our planet right now. We are all here, I believe, because we are the ones who have been called to bring this message, to bring this awakening here to this planet. And wherever we go from here, without this anchor, without the tether, without the connection to our own planet, we're just shapes floating in space.
Good point. Good point. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Adria. Mike's got something to share about this too.
As I've gotten older, I've been studying human nature and stuff. And it's funny to me how we as humans always try to avoid the simple, most obvious signs or messages that we get. The real big ones we're ready to believe, like right now, or the real negative ones, boy, gotta believe that, right? But the ones that are right in your face, the ones that are right in your ear, for some reason, you just want to discard them. That's like you were saying, store food, no, I don't want to do that. Store food, no, I don't want to do that. When I was still in Seattle, and I was playing with a funk band right before I left. And I have the gift of talking to trees. And I had one tree right before I left said, okay, so your only goal in life right now is to have fun. Now that's a simple thing to do, have fun. What could be simpler? And yet I made my life miserable. I ended up arguing with the band leader, and we had our differences and blah blah blah. And I kept going back to my trees, asking what's the problem, and they kept telling me, just have fun. That's it. The most obvious thing in the world, the most simplest thing in the world. And I wasn't listening. It wasn't until I came down to California that it dawned on me that had I done that, that would have been a really fun band to have been with right before I left. And all I had to do was have fun. So again, it's just incredible to me that we automatically almost take out of hand the most simple, obvious messages. And I think those are the ones we really need to pay more attention.
For sure.
All right, great. Yeah, some appreciation for all this. Yeah. So thanks so much, Cloudy Waffles, for asking those general questions, getting us going. Thanks, practitioners, for your answers. And we've got a question in line. Anyone else that wants to jump in and ask a question, please pay. Let us know that you have paid, and we'll get you in line after that. And now we're going to bring up to the front Allison. So I'm going to start spotlighting some of the practitioners, and we'll spotlight you, Allison, so you can be up front as you ask your question. Thanks so much for leaping in.
So, hi, my name's Allison, and I just had a question. I'm not in a relationship currently, but I would like to be, and I would just wanting more clarity around possibly specifics, just maybe how I would meet this person. I'm not really sure exactly on the specific question, but I guess I would just like some more clarity on the who, what, when, where, why. Does it? I don't know if that feels specific enough.
Can I reflect to you what I think I heard, and then you can let me and the other panelists know if this feels like the resonant question. So I hear that you are looking for some guidance around and some clarity around relationship, and this, I think I understand, this is a romantic relationship, and that there's this rising energy within you that comes through in this question of who is this person? Where am I going to meet this person? How am I going to meet this person? And when? All of the journalistic questions. This is like your headline. And so what I hear is, can any of us, through our modalities, offer you any clarity around this like very heart-centered question? Is that correct?
Yeah, especially when you said thank you. Is it Adria or Adria?
It's Adria. Mm-hmm.
Adria. Especially when you said who is this person?
I have a comment. I'll jump in and share, and then practitioners, yeah, raise your hand in Zoom when you're ready. I'll call you in line. We were just talking a little bit recently about energy work and your interest in energy work. And for me, I imagine you stepping forward more, finding communities of people that are practicing energy work, and that it's in these communities, this is where you meet this person. So over the next 4 to 6 months, as you step more out into letting yourself express more of this in your life, having your eyes open so that you can see these other people. So you find others who are sensitive to energy as you are, interested in this and growing themselves. I think that one of the most important things is that we find someone who's similarly conscious and ideally growing in similar rates. And like for you, to me, you're so sensitive in terms of energy and empathy. It's really important that you find someone similar. So finding someone else that's naturally interested in these things. Yeah, so that's a bit of like who, and I just, intuited or made up some of the when-ish. It's you stepping out more into these communities on your own and letting yourself see who's there. Great, and Vanessa is ready. Go ahead, Vanessa.
I'm actually glad that you jumped in first, Lorelai, because as soon as I heard, that it was a relationship, I was like, oh, I know. Like, honestly, like Lorelai is such a resource when it comes to that it's like, yes, there's probably a lot in there that is going to solve a lot of this when you sit down and really think about it. The first thing that came to my mind was the words "put together the package," and me being a counselor, I always tend to go more toward the psychology of it initially, and then I just kind of wait to see what comes after that. And what came after that was, the readiness and knowing that you're ready and knowing what you want and knowing yourself. And once that package is all put together, the certainty comes into play. And when there is uncertainty, which was the first thing that came up, was like, okay, when there's uncertainty, it's really difficult to find the path, because we're looking, literally just at a bunch of weeds, trying to maybe stick our hand in there and see what's in there and see what's over here and see what's there. We're not apt to find exactly what it is that we need and want. So I think, to me, I literally just kind of got the idea that the package isn't ready. You haven't quite put together what exactly that looks like, what you want it to look like. That might have to do with a lack of relationships that look like what you want, that you've seen in your life, so that you have that difficulty of really nailing down, this is what it needs to look like day to day, this is what it needs to feel like, this is what it sounds like, this is what we look like and what we do together. That's a main thing that I do with clients is sit down and say, who are you? Because without that whole thing together, it will be really difficult to attract that person that is what Lorelai was saying, the complement to you. So I don't know if that's helpful, if that resonates.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. All right, we've got Grace ready with an answer.
Whenever I get these questions, I immediately go into that space of, what does your heart want? What do you want to experience, and what do you want to feel within a relationship? A lot of times our 3D brains wants to go at it as, as what it looks like, what it sounds like, where, who, rather than kind of, how do I want to feel in this relationship? What is this relationship going to nurture in me? And how is this person going to nurture me on my path, on my soul's path? Because essentially, when we find a partner, especially those of us who are intuitive, those of us who are especially high empathetic, high sensitive people, we need to make sure that we protect our own energies. And having a person with us all the time, we need to make sure they're in alignment with kind of our own vibrations. So like for me, I can't sometimes stay a long time with somebody who's very high energy and like all over the place and very frantic. I need somebody who can be low key, because it doesn't work with my energy. So rather than, one avenue is, if you meditate, is to ask your heart, what does that look like? Who is the person that will support my path, support who I am, as well as how can I support their path? How can I create that mutual sense of, we're each on our own soul's path? How can we support each other as well as come together as a unit? And to really dig into, how do I want to feel in a relationship? What is it that I want to experience? And what does that look like? And in that way, you're not only building it from the 3D aspect, but from the soul aspect of what your soul's calling you to find in a partner, in a mate. And you'll find that the more you feel into and the more you experience those feelings you want, the faster and the quicker you will attract that person to you, because you're already feeling and experiencing those feelings. It's going to sync up with that person, and that person will just like kind of almost arrive all of a sudden not knowing that, oh, this is the moment. But you'll know because everything will kind of sync up together. I know that's not a very concrete definitive, but we're emotional beings. We're humans. We work on emotions. We thrive on emotions, our feelings, our energies. And when you find that, it's going to feel like somebody plugged you in and all the dots line up and all the lights turn on, if that makes sense. Hope that helps. Thank you.
Great. We've got Lisa in line and then Adria. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hey, Allison, good evening. How are you? Doing okay?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So what I did is from the four energies, I pulled the card air. And we know that air deals with swords, right? Now, from a business perspective, it has to do with strategy and planning and marketing, communications. And I think that my question to you is, do you have trouble with your own voice? Do you have trouble speaking up for yourself and communicating what it is you want in a relationship? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then what I did is I pulled inside the wands, I pulled the five. This is the 5 of swords. Really, this is the 5 of needles. And in the 5 of needles, you know, we're all jostling for, you know, the right to speak and the right to be heard and the right to be seen. And really, it's a matter of sitting down, getting grounded like the others have spoken, and really understanding, okay, that's your perspective. Let me share mine, and stand in your power when you do share yours. And I think that maybe an aspect of looking for a relationship is about being heard for you, right? And being seen and being acknowledged. And for me, I feel that a lot of that is coming through the voice, that chakra that's not allowing you. I feel like it might be blocking you. And so there might be some things that you could do for yourself to help with your voice. I don't know if you sing. I don't know if you like to scream. I don't know how much you talk during the day, but keep the voice active. And if you're an introvert like I am, and I'm home alone, I find myself, I don't speak very often. And so I make up for that by singing ditties, singing about the mundane. I sing to my cats just to keep the chakra in balance, because I don't want to be too quiet, and I certainly don't want to be too verbose, but keeping that in balance is going to also help my relationships with the people around me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's kind of interesting because I drew an air card as my element for the year.
So it sounds like then what you need to do, based off of what Vanessa and Grace was saying, is from that strategy and marketing communication standpoint, maybe it's a matter of outlining what you want to relate in that relationship, how you want to feel in that relationship, and then the partner that you're looking for, what kinds of features and benefits are they going to embody that's going to mesh very well with your own personality. So if you write out that list, and begin creating your own affirmations and the vision board of that partnership, what that looks like, what that feels like, it's going to help you then better communicate and articulate exactly what you want, which is just as important as it is on knowing what you don't want. Okay.
Great.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Totally appreciate. Yeah. Throat chakra and keeping that energy flowing. This is great. Connecting with people. Adria is next.
Okay. So let me lower my hand here. Oh, do that again. I'm going to go back to the journalistic, the who, what, when, where, how, and then the why. So most of those questions that I heard you speak deal more with the external, but the why is the one that you have the most influence over. Why are you looking to connect in this way? Where is it coming from? Where do you feel it in your body? How do you think about it? That brings in the air element. that Lisa was just talking about, like how you think about being in relationship, how you think about yourself and your own relationship with yourself. So this, I think, speaks to, and I heard this a bit through what Vanessa was saying, weaving through what Grace was saying around like this power of intention, of what is your intention, not just who, but why are you opening? What do you feel called to? And why are you feeling this calling at this time? And like what Lisa said, I think is spot on, of writing this, like, and speaking it and singing it, because these are very intrinsic gifts of being human. We have opposable thumbs, so we can craft and write with intention what we make with our hands. And we have voices, so we can speak and sing with intention. And these are also gifts that we can offer back to the divine. And so I also want to offer, what came to my mind is, if there's any sense or any feeling within you, if you start to feel anxious around this inquiry, I just want to add this reminder: that which you are seeking is also seeking you. And so it's not just on you to manifest or find this person or people. There could be a series of people that help you unlock the doors to really receive with your full mind, body, and spirit, to like really ignite your soul path and really spark your internal joy and that fire, the fire that lives within you. And this is oftentimes what relationships can do for us, huge mirrors and reflections. So I offer this possible ritual for you to, it could be daily, it could be weekly, but to write in a place, I don't know if you keep a journal, but to actually just keep track of your own internal resonance around what you're feeling, where you're feeling it in your body, what your intention is for coming into this place of opening to an other who will reflect and hopefully enhance your journey. And so that can be done if you want to bring in some elements. This is a great way to support this ritual, which helps us really mark our process along the way of the journey. You could bring in some stones. They don't have to be crystals. They can just be stones from, or painted stones like Laureli has, but they could be some stones from places that have meaning to you. You can bring in some water. You could bring in, feathers or incense for air, and a candle, and just make this a really luscious, joyful experience about dreaming into this feeling that you have of this resonant feeling. And that will help also attract and deepen and anchor your intention into the physical.
Okay, great. Thanks, Adria. All right, great. Yeah, we're aiming for around like 2.5, 3 minutes each. Great. All right, Kai's next. It's okay. Yeah, the first time. Go ahead,
Okay,
Kai.
so what I got for you is that it's just, you need some confidence, and not necessarily, because you're lacking confidence altogether. It's like being confident in, this is what I want, and being willing to shed any kind of fear that you have regarding it. Because sometimes, we like, yeah, I really want a relationship, but I'm like, but what if he turns out to be a weirdo, or, whatever. And so you have to like let that go, so that the person that is the mirror reflection of you, who is the perfect match for you, can step forward. Because if you have any fear regarding that, then, that just actually puts it in the way. It actually just attracts it and puts it as a barrier in front of you. So you have to project this confidence that once you've done all the stuff, whatever everyone suggested, whatever works for you, take all those pieces, gather them together, put them together any way you want so that it makes you feel confident about the process, about what you're doing, about how you feel. And then, that is the thing that will drive you forward. But I feel this distinct lack of, like, I don't know if I could do it, this uncertainty kind of stuff. And you have to dispense with that. Like, if that's something you really want, if you really want a relationship, then you have to release the uncertainty of it and just trust that all the things that you're doing is going to drive you forward to finding that person, whoever he is. And, I agree with everything everybody said about, as soon as you meet that person, you'll know. You'll just walk in and it'll be like, bam, like, oh my gosh. But you have, there's a lot of stuff you need to do for yourself first, get yourself in a good position before you can move forward and find that person. But yeah, the big thing for me that I got was, your confidence and letting go of any fear or uncertainty that you have regarding it.
Great, thanks, Kai. Anyone else have something to share with Allison? Great, just giving everyone an opportunity. Yeah. Thanks so much, Allison, for your question, for jumping in and getting us started. Yeah. All right, next in line, we have Kelly. Bring Kelly up to the spotlight. Hi, what is your question?
My question is, oh, I'm sorry, my phone was dying on me. I just recently, my spiritual gifts have just reopened for me recently, after my grandfather has died. And it seems like I take on too much energy and I don't know how to release it. And it just seems like the more energy I absorb, the harder it is for me to see the signs or feel like spirit around me, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes.
Sorry, I didn't write down one nugget about that. Your gifts reopened after your grandfather died, and then you said something about, and something's making it harder to feel.
Well, as a little girl, I was intuitive, but it was kind of like shut down because it was kind of, I was really scared of it. But now, after some life altering events, it seems that my spiritual gifts have reopened, and I'm seeing a lot of signs from my grandfather, because we made a pact that if I was to go before him or he goes before me, we would get each other's attention. Well, he recently passed, and all of a sudden, they're clear, very clear. But I absorb a lot of energy. And it seems like the more I absorb, I'm not seeing the signs as clearly. And will I open up more with my gifts?
Yeah, great. I guess I have just some questions for you. Are you willing to have your gifts open?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Are you willing to be of service?
Yes.
Are you willing to let your grandfather support you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great. Kai's
very open.
Great. Go ahead, Kai.
Okay. What I'm getting for you, Kelly, is that, yeah, you are open. When I look at you, it's almost like your aura is like whoosh. It's like way open, which is both good and bad, because when you take in too much energy, you take in every kind of energy, which is not good.
No, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, your gifts aside, what's happened is your energy field is so open. It's like, yeah, it's like you're like an energy sponge is what you look like to me. Like, it's like you're just taking everything and taking everything and taking everything in.
I'm stuck. I can't go anywhere. I'm like a rat or something stuck in a bubble. It's like I can't even move because I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So what I would suggest for you, the first thing is you need to work on controlling your energy, your personal energy, because we also, I mean, we always interact with others through our energy field, through our aura, through our energy bodies, so you have to take control of that, because like I said, right now you're like an open book and anything and everything can come at you, which is
yes, I'm a magnet.
yeah. And from an energy perspective, that is like the worst case scenario, really.
And so my negative thoughts are.
Yeah, because what can happen, like in my experience, what I've encountered when I run into people who have similar situation to yours is they end up with, things attached to them. They end up like with crazy thoughts. They end up doing crazy things that they don't understand. And it's because their own energy is not controlled or not protected well enough. So the first thing I would say to you is like kind of like put the thought about your gifts to the side for a moment, because that's not the priority. The priority is you need to get your energy straightened out. You need to get whatever is not yours off of you. And you need to close your aura so that you are like encapsulated, so that your energy is just your energy and nothing and no one else is in it.
Yes.
And then once you get that straightened out, like get your energy, together, then at that point, your gifts should actually just explode. Because right now you've got all this interference from all this other stuff that's coming at you. And that's why you can't hear or see or feel anything. But the most important thing is you have to get your energy together and protected, because if not, what happens, or what's happened to people that I've met in the past, is they start getting sick. They start having all kinds of stuff happen. And so
in the body.
yeah, like you literally open up to dis-ease. Like your energy is so messed up that your body starts to suffer. So that's the first thing, is like you need to like shut it down.
And it's like, how do I do that, or where do I go?
Well, have you had any practice with shielding or grounding? Like those are two things that every person who has gifts should know how to do.
I'm just starting to read, like reading on all of that now. Like I said before, I knew I had this, but I was taught not to touch it. So now I'm starting from the bottom. I feel like I'm starting from the bottom up. I've always been spiritual, but now I realize that I'm also, I have all this stuff really attached to me, whereas before I thought I was able to control it, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, as the more you open up, the harder it is to drive this stuff away, because like you're emitting light. And so yeah, you need to
and I'm also in a situation where I'm living in it daily too.
Okay, well, I'll let someone else answer.
And I put Kai's information in the chat again too.
So my environment
includes 20% off a great course that I've listened to part of too. Great. So we've got Vanessa and then Mike. Oops, wait, we lost her. Let's see if she comes back in a moment. I may have her contact info from her payment. Yeah, hopefully Kelly realizes and gets her phone plugged back in, or whatever happened. I'll watch for her to come right back. Did she pop back in? No. Yeah, thanks everyone for your patience. Hopefully she comes right back in here. If we have to, we will share some more answers and get the recording to her quickly, but hopefully she'll be right back. We can always pause and come back, but yeah, I'm hoping she makes it right back in. Yeah, all I have is an email for her, so. Kelly. I know, yeah. Oh, We might have to go on. This answer is so valuable for so many. So I definitely appreciate where this is going. Well, we don't have anyone else in line at the moment that I know of. If someone else has paid and I have not noticed, let me know. Yeah, she's. Yeah. Well, what do you all think? Should we say a little bit of our answers just so we're here and we have this in the recording? And yeah, I think so. And hopefully she'll come back in. Oh, she just came back. She just came back. Okay, hold on. Yes, yes. All right, let's wait till she gets her video on and then I'll bring her right back up. Hey, Kelly, just turn on your video and we'll get you right back. Okay, here we go. All right, perfect. Yeah, if you want to unmute and say something or yay, you're back.
Sorry about that. I don't know if my phone.
It's okay. All right, Vanessa and then Mike. Go ahead, Vanessa.
I'm glad you came back because I was a little panicked. Like I was like, I
Me
feel like
too.
as soon as your energy left, like things changed for me. I was like, oh my God, the message isn't going to sound the
I'm
same.
like, this would happen to me. This always happens to me, you know?
Well, it's a lot of energy. And I feel like that's like, I mean, when you say that you collected all of this energy, it's like, I feel all of that energy too. And so I was like scribbling furiously. It doesn't even, it's like all over my page even. Like I couldn't, it's like I couldn't even just put it in a line.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and what Kai said is, I think, like the basis of all of this is the grounding. And because you had somebody cross over recently that you were close to and you already made a spirit pact with, it feels like that extra spirit energy that's strong and close to you is disrupting in a good way. You're already
Right.
like you're already kind of humbled energy to begin with.
Yes.
And also that trauma piece from way back of it's not safe. It's not safe to open up. It's not safe to open up. That fear is way back, you know, maybe in the subconscious. Some of it's here, but a lot of that process happens in your subconscious. So it's like blocking you, even though up here you're saying, I really want this.
Yes.
The trauma is telling you, no, you don't, because it's not safe. So
Right.
that part of those grounding activities and part of those protective activities is learning that you are safe and that you can slow down. That was another thing that I got on here, was not slowing down. That you have to get quiet.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, you have to get quiet, slow down, allow yourself to work through all of this. When you're talking about all the different energies and trying to sort out which is yours and which you've picked up along the way, you've got to get quiet to do that. There's a lot of different practices to do energy cleansing. We've got all these people here that can help you with it. But
yes,
sometimes just simply the intention when you're in the shower of, you know, washing away any energies that don't belong to you, you know, just doing things multiple times a day to cleanse, ground, and protect.
I do Palo Santo or sage, I do, but that was maybe twice, so that's not enough.
And there might be more elements that you need to bring in, right? Like grounding your feet on the ground, literally, and thinking of rooting so that you become part of the earth, you know, things like that. But it takes slowing down in order to do it. I think for me, like sometimes I have the tendency to kind of be bouncy too. I don't slow down enough. I stand there for like 10 seconds and I'm like, why am I not grounded?
Yes, or I know you're there. Yes.
Right. So that was kind of what I got, was that, you know, all of these things you haven't kind of been taught anyway. And then you've got a big boost of spirit trying to connect to you. And it's just overwhelming, you know, to a degree that now you're being forced to figure that out so that you can properly use your gifts.
And I believe he's coming in because he's trying to warn me about what's been going on around the family. I've had to make some decisions, and decisions like you need to either up and leave or you stay. So I've followed my intuition, and I know he's the signs are there, but it's like, you know, am I not seeing them all? Or, you know, maybe there's just too much, you know? It's like, I know that I'm supposed to be reading more into what it is. And I'm the type, like you said, I want to know now. I don't want to wait and meditate. I don't want to have to go back, and because I recently got sober, and that was another awakening, you know, and it brings me to all of this too. But it's like, I don't want to go back and have to redo more work, you know, go back and do more work too. So basically I need to do the steps to get to where I want to go.
Yes, because on the other side are those gifts that can only be properly used when you're in alignment.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great. All right, we've got Mike, Adria, Grace, and Lisa. Go ahead, Mike.
I was on the call the whole time.
Mike, let's get you unmuted.
Yes, I'm still on here.
Oh, Mike, somehow we can't hear you. Yeah, let's try doing something different with your sound. I know I say something.
On the chair behind you.
How's that? How's
Okay,
that?
yeah, we hear you now. Great.
You poor guys. All right. So basically, I'm going to build on some things that Kai said. There's three things I think you need to do. Number one, you need to learn how to build a shield around you, an energy shield. That'll protect you right off the bat. I do one every morning, especially if I'm going to go out in public, anywhere, like to the store, I always put a shield around me because there's just way too much negative energy and stuff that can affect me. So learn how to put a shield around you. Number two, learn how to cut cords. What cords are is that people who know, they'll put a cord on you, right? I had a master energy healer that once taught me how to do it. It's very, very simple. He says, grab them like this, cut them off, and say you're letting them go. You're letting all cords go. You're cutting all cords and letting them go. Then, remember, notice I said all cords. Then you just cover your head and say the only cords I'm going to accept, in my case, are from my mom, my wife, and my sister, period. That's it. It's that simple. It works the rest of the day. The third thing, you have to calm down and have a calm mind. There's no getting around it. One of the things I notice about you is that the fact that you don't want to wait means that you're in your head a lot. And when we're in our head a lot, we get antsy and we get frustrated, blah, 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 blah. That is why it's so important for you to just calm your mind. When you calm your mind, all the rest of it disappears because it no longer matters. A sub part of that is be in the moment, right? You can't do anything about the past. You can't change the past. I don't care what it is, you cannot change the past. You cannot worry about the future because it's not here yet.
Right.
So the only thing you can deal with is right now.
Right. I know.
So just deal with right now, be calm, and that's it. It's that simple.
Right.
And the last thing I'll tell you is there's two things that the universe doesn't like. I don't want it and never.
Right. I know.
When you say I don't want it, the universe says, well, maybe you should. And then when you say I'm never going to do this, the universe says, nah, not so much.
Exactly.
I've had to learn that lesson several times. And I find in my early 60s, I said, okay, I've learned it. I'm never going to say never again. Well, I just said it again.
Right.
And I'm just going to go with the flow.
Yeah, it's just like the drinking my program, you know, I finally had to hit bottom zero so many times till I had to finally say, I'm done, you know? Yeah. It's funny how everything goes to spiritual, you know, awakenings and, you know.
I've learned it's a fine balance between spiritual and physical and mental and emotional.
Yes.
And we as humans always work to try and achieve that balance. We'll never make it perfect because we're not perfect, but as long as we can achieve like a balance like that, we're good. Right. It's when we go too much emotional or too much logical, that's when the problems happen, right? But if you can achieve like about that type of balance, you're good.
See, I need to work on it. And I know it's going to take a lot of work. And it's like the empathy part, that's what really kills me right now. It's
Well,
killing
one
me.
last thing. I want you to change a word. I don't want you to say it's going to be a lot of work. Because what happens is you've now set yourself up to go up this hill that you're not going to be able to get up to. If you say, I'm going to work on the challenges I have, a challenge is cool because mentally, if I don't meet a challenge, that's okay. I'll try it again tomorrow. I'll try that challenge again tomorrow.
Right.
If I say I have to work at this, oh man, here I got to go another day trying to work at this. Man, I don't want to. I'm going to go do something else.
Right.
But a challenge, you can say, I want to meet this challenge. And after I meet this one, I'm going to write another one, a goal for myself, and do the next one. So change the word from work to challenge.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
There you go.
I needed to hear that.
It's
Thank
great.
you.
Great comments. All right, we've got Adria, Grace, and Lisa. Adria.
Okay. So Kelly, first of all, I just want to say I'm sorry for your loss of your grandfather. And it sounds like his spirit is really benevolent and warm and is really holding you in this time. It also sounds like you've been through a lot of transformation and a lot of transitions, and you've really, some of them you've called in for yourself, like your sobriety. So I want to just give you so many blessings for that path to really be clear and present in your earthly body for this journey that you've chosen this and you've been gifted it. And every day that you wake up to breathe is another opportunity, like Mike said, to meet the challenges. And I would also build on that to say to meet yourself in these challenges.
Yes.
Meet all of these versions, this new, the becoming that you are. So I really see you in this chrysalis energy. And really to build off what Kai has said, I want to also direct your attention that Laureli put in the chat Kai's class, an energy shield course. And so I think that sounds like something we are all in agreement would be really helpful and protective for you to remove some of the interference. I would also say that what is meant for you in the, to clear out everything, what is meant for you will return. And what I want to offer is some ritual for taking rest and self-care. And I don't know what your practices are, but it touches on emotional care, it touches on physical care, it touches on energy hygiene. Do you have a bathtub?
I need it all.
Do you have a bathtub?
Yes.
So what I would recommend and offer is as often as you have this available, to take a soak and mix 3 different salts. I like using Dead Sea salt, Epsom salt, and it could be like a pink Himalaya salt. And get a nice grounding stone to put in here. I like using black tourmaline because it really absorbs a lot of energy, and just soak, immerse yourself. This will cleanse and support your emotional body. It will take out what is not yours to carry, and let yourself sit in the tub after you're done soaking until all the water has drained out, and just breathe. As the water is draining, breathe into that rhythm of hearing the water move through and just like releasing and shedding. I think that could be really supportive and help you kind of relax and breathe into feeling what you're feeling in this present moment.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, because like I said, I'm starting from the bottom. So anything and everything that I can, take in, I'm willing to try, or I'm open, very open right now. Thank you very much.
Great. I love the recommendations here. And part of what we're encouraging you is to be selectively open. Choose what you're open to.
Yes.
We've got Grace and then Lisa. Go ahead, Grace.
Oh, Kelly. First, I admire you for asking the question. I admire you for sharing your journey and letting us help you, and everything everybody has said and what will be said with me and Lisa is all of it. Is there's so many valuable pieces and to what each of us said. And I think that it's great that it's being recorded, because then you can go back and hear it again, because
Yes.
when you're more
Yes.
of a calm state, you'll pick up on some of the nuances you may have missed the first time. So first, I encourage you to go back to the recording, listen to it again and again, and you'll pick up on little things that you may have missed. And I'm getting a sense that there's a sense of there's a little bit of franticness around your gifts. And I think from what I was picking up on is that you almost fear that you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain with your grandfather. And that there is a sense of you made a promise, and that you almost, there's a sense of a feeling of, I'm not fulfilling my end of the bargain or what I said I would do. And you are, okay? First of all, you are. Your grandfather's around you, not to, to kind of badger you into your gifts. He's there to help slow you down. He wants you to slow down. Some of the hyper anxiety and the franticness you feel is our mind's way of preventing us from feeling what we have in our heart. And I feel that there's a lot of grief and a lot of emotional processing that needs to happen for you in order to step in to what you have, and you'll never lose it. An intuitive spiritual gift is always, it's not a gift. It's there. It's not like you get that present taken away because you're not actively using it and in it all the time. Sometimes we need to dial it down to like a 1 and say, okay, spirit, I need a break because I need to create a more balanced vessel for me to do the work that I'm here to do. And I speak from experience. And sometimes when our brain puts these things in our way, and that, you use the word I know a lot. That's a brain, that's the thought, I know. And so sometimes we have to really I kept wanting to tell you, just take a breath, and just find that part of you and allow your process to not only grieve for the loss of someone obviously so dear to you, but to go through the transitions you've made. You've made big decisions right after having a moment where there was trauma and grief. You have an expectation that you're going to be at optimal peak performance when you had these huge emotional moments. And I don't care how long anybody's been doing what we do. If you've had those moments, we all need time to sort out how we're feeling, to sort out our grief, to sort out our experiences so that we understand ourselves better. And I really feel your heart is asking you to do that. And so isn't your grandfather. He does not want you to feel this sense of franticness, this sense of, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it right. You're exactly where you need to be right now and in every moment of your life. When you find that groundedness, that sense of, okay, I've got a good foundation. Now I can grow. Now I can use my spiritual muscles and build them from this solid foundation. And once you do that, you will find that your gifts, they're still there. They're just waiting for you to be able to use them in a way that's healthy for you, that's not overwhelming, that's not going to create more emotional trauma on top of it, what you've already experienced. We don't want to compound the issue. We want to create a foundation so as you build, you're safe in it and you're stable. And that's kind of, I think, I know many of my friends who are intuitives, that's what we had to do. When we've had big emotional upset and trauma, we had to create that solid foundation so that we're not on a house on stilts. And the minute something big happens, we fall over and we're in the spiral again because we haven't resolved our emotions that we've experienced already. And I know in my heart of hearts that you are always protected, but you have to protect yourself. You have to make that conscious decision to take the tools that all of us have shared. I'm glad somebody said about black tourmaline. It's just something that I stick in my pocket or my bra, you know, because it helps me from absorbing all of that energy. It's just a tool. It's, you know, clearing your cells, pulling the cord, you know, cutting cord. It's always all of those things will aid you. But I encourage you to be kind to yourself and experience the grief that you're experiencing, and not try to use your spirituality in order to bypass that part of your process.
Yes, because when he died, things happened with the family and they were all about his money. So when he died, everybody took the money and ran. I had to choose to leave my parents and leave everybody behind because I realized they were all taking from him. It was not. So now I'm like, I'm trying to set it all straight, and I'm trying to be that person, to be like the truth person, you know, and I'm like, every time I try to present something, I get knocked down, and it's like, I feel like maybe he's trying to tell me just live life and you don't need to prove things. But so yes, so it's like that was like tragic, but on top of it, I've lost everybody, and now it's like this, it's like he was my father. He was, you know, so I think, yes, it's like everything you guys are saying has to do with what I'm going through. So it's like I'm getting emotional, but it's like good emotional because I need to hear this. I need to hear these things.
And be kind to you. You have to be your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader through this, because ultimately you're the one that takes care of you. And
right.
we can find that empathy and compassion for ourselves and understanding you just went through something huge. Turn that empathy inwards and that compassion inwards.
I know.
You need it most of all.
It's so hard to do.
It is. Trust me, I've spent the last 20-something years actively working through that process and finding success, but we have to keep practicing. But remember, every moment, whenever you feel frantic about, oh my God, I'm not doing, just be like, nope, you're in the right place at the right time, and everything is as it needs to be. Thank you, Laureli. So just
thank you.
And one last thing before I close off, because I don't mean to take so much time, but Archangel Michael is always available to you. And he is great with cutting cords and being shielded and protected. So whenever you're feeling sick and you're feeling upset, Archangel Michael, just call on him and ask him to just help shield you while you're working on becoming grounded. Call on him. He's there to help you through this process. And any other angel that you may connect with is always, of course, there to help you. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Grace. I know the juggle together. Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
I have one.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi.
Okay. You've got a lot on your shoulders right now, and I'm going to just echo what everybody else here has said, but I'm going to take just a little different route, tiny route. This is an exciting time for you. And I don't want to downplay that, right? But I also want to make sure that you're super grounded and super shielded and super protected before you start getting out there and playing with, you know, and experimenting with your modalities, whatever they might be. But a couple of things I just want to mention right off the bat, and that is, first, don't try to be anything, just be. Just be. You have nothing to prove. Now I'm starting to get really emotional here because I think I'm feeling that he's around you and he is super proud of you. That's what I'm getting. And I'm clairsentient, so I feel, and I'm getting goosebumps up and down. So he's there with you, and he's super proud of you. on the path that you're on right now, regardless of how far you think you are or aren't on that path. Okay. Just know he's there with you. And all you have to do is just say, hey, I know you're here. Thank you for watching over us. And, you know, help me as I heal, because as you're healing, you'll start to ground yourself. And as you ground, you'll start to heal and you'll shield. So you'll heal and you'll shield. And then you'll start to get those moments of clarity where you're like, wait, maybe I heard something. Maybe I felt something. Maybe I saw something. And that's only going to happen right when you quiet everything down. There's something I learned recently that I absolutely love. And that is, if you put your heart on your hand on your heart for about 30 seconds, it feels like a hug. Your body goes through this reaction that says, oh, I'm getting a hug. When you do that, when you quiet yourself and your hand is on your heart, you might start to receive some things. It could be imagery. It could be hearing something. It could be feeling something. So those are really quick moments, quick and dirty moments to ground yourself, to quiet yourself and give yourself a hug, because you need it. You need that hug. Nobody's giving you that hug. You need that hug. Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yes.
You bet. I love what Adria said about the salt bath. What I do, because I've got a shower and a bath, and then my bathtub's full of boxes because I use it as a storage unit. But what I do is I have a bowl of salt in my shower. And after moments like this with, you know, a lot of people here in the Zoom room, I'll go take a shower and I just quickly scrub down with the Epsom salt. That really helps, right? It's such a brand new feeling. It's wonderful. And also, if you keep a journal, consider what's called automatic writing, and just start, you know, thanking your guides, thanking your angels for being there, helping you, protecting you, the energies of the earth. There's a author out there called Michael Sandler, and he's got this book on automatic writing experience. And when you go through that process every day, then you can start asking, you know, what's my highest purpose for today? What do I need to know? And suddenly, if you just keep writing and you start feeling and hearing the words come through you, because you've written all this, the ego down, right? You've written all that down. Then suddenly spirit can come through you and start helping you write and helping you clarify what it is you need to pay attention to. So consider something like that. Okay.
Yes, I've been actually reading up on that stuff. So yes, definitely.
Fantastic.
Definitely. Thank you.
Fantastic. You bet. So good luck to you. You've got a lot of really great advice here tonight. Yes. So feel free to come back to that video and watch it.
I thank you all. I thank all of you guys. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Kelly. All right, great.
Okay.
And let's see, we had someone else with a different name pay, and I'm trying to, Cloudy Waffles, was that you? Were you wanting to ask the personal question now? Is that, it's a different name on Venmo that someone paid with. You're not wanting that name to be known. I'm just not wanting to say it out loud. I wrote to someone, but I didn't hear back. Say initials AM. Who is initials AM? And did you have a question? Cloudy Waffles, it might be you. Maybe you contributed something for your general questions you asked earlier, but I thought maybe you had a personal question you want to ask also. It's the mystery. Who is this? All right, let me go looking for Cloudy Waffles. Oh, there you are, Cloudy Waffles. Let's see, is it you? You don't have to come on screen, but I'm attempting to get you to respond. Someone with initials AM paid on Venmo. Maybe away from the computer at the moment. Well, we have the opportunity to ask questions ourselves then too, unless someone else is paid to ask a question that I haven't seen yet. So glad, Allison, thanks so much for being here and for allowing us to answer your question. Glad you had a good time. Let me check PayPal again to see if someone else has paid that I have not noticed yet. And we're here till 8 p.m. is the idea. So we've got time to answer one or two more questions. Yeah, no one else that I see. Yeah, these are great questions so far. Great answers, great questions. All right, well, yeah, so while we're waiting, any of us on the panel have questions for each other? They could be general question topics like for us to explore, and it could be personal questions too, if anyone has something.
I have a question for Grace and Vanessa. Could you two tell us a little bit more about your, is it Freud's Angel podcast? Like, is it on Spotify? Like how often do you do this? Do you have guests come in?
I should have this link in chat if I don't already.
Yes, yes to all of it. Freud's Angels, well, to give you some information, during COVID, we are both, at that time, Vanessa being a therapist, me being an energy healer, we were so far removed from the people we help. And so a lot of our clients, while I do distance sessions and Vanessa does telehealth, there was still a need to help the world because we were going through such a huge upset at that time. And a lot of people needed something and somewhere to go. And we decided together that what better way to share our knowledge and share what we've learned and how to cope and the things that we know and how to heal and all the things that we have experienced and taking our knowledge and putting it out into the ethers as a podcast. And I remember asking Vanessa one day, just out of the blue, you want to create a podcast? And she's like, sure. So Summer Solstice is our year anniversary. We have, and I will say this, that we have a magic that I have not had with other people in how we reflect and how we don't edit any of we just straight talk it. We don't edit anything. We just put the intro and the outro, we throw it up there. It is a weekly podcast, minus the weeks that we do self-care and that sometimes we're not feeling well or we do honor how we feel and make sure that we're in alignment with what we're preaching. And you can find it on any podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, just about every single one but Amazon. Amazon is the one that we chose not to do because we wanted to keep our intellectual property rights of our stuff. So yeah, what else? Vanessa, can you share?
Well, our website is kind of like a placeholder, but it's usually where I send people to for the podcast because I'm like, if you just go on our website, which is freudsangels.com, nice and easy, there is like a page that has like a link to all of those different stations, just like all in one space. It's like one of the greatest things I think that I've ever done because I feel like, it's not just for what we're providing, it really, our growth, our personal growth via this endeavor has been amazing. But yeah, we've only done like a couple guest podcasts. I think probably in the future there'll be some more, but it's kind of like we show up and on the day, we usually is when we're like, well, what's on our mind? Let's talk about that. When she says we don't edit, it's like, we don't even plan it. We just literally show up and do it and put it out. And it's amazing. But it's like the thing that about it, even just the name Freud's Angels, like we laughed so hard when we came up with it because it's like Freud would not want anything to do with the angels like that. That's like, no way, man. But it works so much when you put the two together that it's like it should have been there all of that time. But really just that mix of the like psychology and the psyche and the mind and all that kind of stuff. And then that soul and spirit and heart and how we can't separate those two and really expect that we're going to do so well. So yeah, it's awesome.
It is. And we just started where we took a little bit of a break. There's a lot of our own experiences. I moved up to the Pacific Northwest. So there was a series where it was the experience of how to do like these massive, like Hail Marys across the country where you either sell or donate all your belongings and then pack your car and just drive to wherever you go without really a job, a place to live. Vanessa and I have done it a couple of times. So we're very we're very famous for just being really just connected with what the Spirit's telling us to do and just kind of doing it. And so there's a lot of that. We just this year and end of last year started a body reclamation series, which is talking about my own journey and how we can learn to take that idea of body, mind, and soul when we've got our head and our heart connected, and to really reconnect to our physical being and the presence it has in the world, and how we feel about it, and kind of doing the wiring from society, parental, and just really becoming into that space where we can, and it's not about body acceptance. I really hate that word, because you're accepting something you don't like. It has a negative connotation, but I think it's more or less, it's like you're reclaiming your own body for yourself as a sovereign being, and to deciding, to do with it out of love. Like, people want to get fit or get healthy, or, maybe they, whatever that is, it's out of love versus out of the rejection of the body, so to speak. And it's talking a lot about that journey, my own personal process with it, as well as sharing, tips and tricks on how people can begin their own. So we have a lot of fun. We just have a lot of fun. There's a lot of laugh, some seriousness, but thank you for asking.
Yeah, sounds great. I know someone in the chat was writing, just in case someone saw. This is my first time joining one of these meetings, but hopefully not the last. This is a pretty big step for me. Thank you. Yeah, we have lots of people that come to events like this for the first time, both our in-person events and our online events. And we're grateful that we're reaching so many new people and helping so many people step in. Cloudy Waffles is here. I'm wondering if you're the one that, did you have a personal question that you wanted to ask? Maybe it's you. Let's bring you up. Were you wanting to ask a personal question too? I think that's what you were saying earlier. Is that correct? And did you pay? Your initials are AM.
Let me think if I have a personal question.
But did you pay? Was that you?
I just gave you an offering.
Okay. Thank you. Well, yeah, feel free if you want to ask a question. It's hard to hear you. Can you get the phone closer to your mouth by any chance?
No, I don't. I really don't have anything. That was just, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for contributing. Yeah, for the general questions you asked earlier. Great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, so it's an opportunity if someone else wants to ask a question, I will put in chat. I put in chat a bunch of our upcoming events too. I can say a little bit more about that. We do have if you're in the Seattle area, we have a fair. Did I put the right thing? No, I don't think I copied the right thing. We have a fair in Bellevue this weekend that some of us will be at. That's at Embassy Suites, Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Coming up online next Monday, May 2, we have a panel like this with different practitioners. Some may be the same on hypnosis, soul integration, and embodiment. We often have themes, and today anything and everything. Wednesday, May 4 next week, we have Metaphysics and Intuition Practice Circle. That's where if you are starting to practice or you're actively in practice, it's an opportunity to get together with your peers and practice whatever modalities you're growing into, wanting to build your muscles at. We will support you in that process. Monday, May 9, so in a week away, we have an Anything and Everything panel that's a training panel. So we have new practitioners that are new to being on stage. So new modalities, or there are 3 categories I give. Getting support from us to answer questions, and it's half price to ask a question at one of those panels. And then Friday the 13th, we have a panel on witchcraft and alchemy. And then Wednesday, June 1, we have our fair. So we'll have 16 practitioners approximately answering questions from the audience briefly for an hour. And then they'll be in breakout rooms, giving talks, answering questions, and doing sessions. And Vanessa has something to share. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Actually a question, and I was like, when do I raise my hand? Okay. It's funny because I just kept feeling like I needed to ask a question, and I'm not really sure what it is, so I'm just gonna let it fall out of my mouth. And it's Kai. I feel like I don't know anything about you, but I'm just like, I want to know some things. I think it has to do with the Hawaiian thing, like the word Hawaii, like your name. So I think I'm curious as to like if that's integrated energy wise in what you offer, or if that's inspired, or if there's some sort of energy behind it that comes from like the Hawaiian culture.
Yes, yes, and yes. I incorporate, well, because I mean, for me, what I do is I actually do energy work with different frequencies. So I do use Reiki energy, and I have training in other modalities as well. And while I was working on, building my energy toolbox, so to speak, um, then the kahuna stuff actually manifested at that point. And what happens with that is it's like a completely different thing. And it's a completely different kind of energy. Like when I work with people, I literally just pull energy from the Hawaiian Islands when I do it. And I work a lot with lava, the energy of lava when I do things. And I've had people say, when I tell them that I'm working with the lava, they're like, yeah, I'm getting really hot right now. And sometimes when I just, when I'm channeling energy from Hawaii, they're like, why do I keep smelling flowers? And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, that it depends upon, when I work on my clients, I bring in everything. So sometimes it feels like I need to just straight pull energy from Hawaii to work with people. Sometimes it feels like it's a little bit of Reiki, a little bit of light therapy. Sometimes it's a little bit of sound. Everything that I've learned comes to bear when I work on somebody. I never do this, it's just this or it's just that, because that doesn't work for me. Because when someone comes to me, it's not like they just need this. There's a reason why that person found me specifically, because there are millions of people who do Reiki, right? It doesn't have to be me. So there's a reason why that person found me. So obviously they need whatever mix of stuff that I have. So yeah, a lot of times it depends. I don't always use Hawaiian stuff. I always go according to whatever my guides tell me to. But yeah, sometimes it will come up where I need to specifically use like energy from Hawaii to do stuff. And it's usually people who have a resonance with it. Like they'll come up to me and they're like, I don't know why I'm here, but it said Hawaiian, I need to be here. I said, okay. And then usually, I'll start working on them and the energy will actually change. I will feel the shift and they will too. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, and I think that that's what it is that it's like, I've never been to Hawaii a day in my life. I would love to go there, but there's just something about the energy that I get from thinking about it or seeing it and thinking like, how does that, it's special. Obviously it's different from, the mountains of New Hampshire where I grew up, it's kind of like, well, what is that? And so I'm fascinated with the idea of lava and, using that, because I do think of Hawaii as one of those like really elemental places where there's like deep elemental energy.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. I love that.
Well, if you want, since we're kind of messing around, I could actually send you some, see if you feel it.
Okay.
Want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna send everybody some Hawaiian energy. Let's see if you get it. Okay, how was that?
It's so funny because my stomach started to rumble, like, and I was like, it's almost like a volcano, like, like okay.
It's interesting,
That was
quiet,
great.
interestingly quiet and loud all at the same time.
It's like I felt waves of energy just rolling over my body. And so my body was just not on fire, that's the wrong word to use, but just very tingly. So it's just like all over body tingles, just undulating. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you.
I felt these nice, calm waves coming. That's what I felt. That's great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I also had the sensation of being in the warm body of water and feeling even like the sand being churned up by the waves, which on my home coast, the water is too cold for me to really like enjoy going in. I could, but I wouldn't enjoy it the way that just really, I was so at ease.
I heard the ocean at first, and then I could feel the breeze. Like, it's hot in this room where I'm at because I have the heater on, but it was like this cool breeze just came right through. And I was like, oh, it was beautiful. Thank you, Guy.
You're welcome.
All right, great. Great. Yeah, just an opportunity if any practitioners have any questions. Just a last check for that. I don't think I have anyone else that's paid to ask a question. Just checking again. And yeah, and if not, we'll just reintroduce ourselves and close out. Yeah, looks like we might be set. All right, well, let's go through and reintroduce ourselves. Be sure to share your name, your modalities, and your contact info for how people can reach out to you. If you want to, you're welcome to say your special. I'll post everyone's info again in chat. For some of you, I don't have specials. If you want me to add something, let me know. I think Vanessa and Mike, if you want one. Yeah, totally optional. Oh, and also let me say this out loud. I put this in the chat earlier, but let me say it for those of you that are left. If you want to give us feedback on today, there is a forum where you can do that. And if you give us your email address, you're welcome to share a testimonial. All that information will be shared with the practitioners that are participating in this, and we will choose a winner out of a drawing, and you'll get a free 30-minute session with one of us of the participating practitioners of your choice. So yeah, that's also in the chat. All right. Well, I guess let's go around and order. Mike, you want to go first? We could have Mike and Kai, and then we'll like zoop around to Grace and Vanessa and Adria and Lisa and me.
Hello, my name is Mike Hernandez, known as the Tarot Sage. I do nothing but tarot. Good stuff. Read on just about any subject except health. You can reach me at mikehtarot@gmail.com or via my website at justenoughtarot.com. Thanks for everything.
Kai.
Hi, I'm Kai Bertrand. I'm a Hawaiian kahuna. I practice energy healing with different modalities. I can also connect you with your ancestors if you'd like, just to see what they have to say. You can reach me by email, which is wakai66@hotmail.com, which is wakai66@hotmail.com. And if you happen to be in Bellevue, I will be at the in-person MeWe fair this weekend in Bellevue.
Thanks, Kai. I think we said Vanessa and Grace are next.
I'm Vanessa Perry. I'm an intuitive counselor, former mental health therapist. I am one half of the Freud's Angels podcast, Grace being my other half. We have a podcast and kind of some healing modalities that are mind and heart together. Mind, obviously, we've got me and my psychology background, and Grace and her angel healing background. but my special for tonight, I did not get that in. So it's just money off of a session with me. My normal session price is $111, and I'm offering, if somebody goes to my website or sends me an email, I'm offering a session with me for $99. It can be anything. It can be just unearthing something and working through it. It can be talking about life alchemy or career alchemy. You know, it's an intuitive counseling session. So I kind of talk about what I hear coming in, and we talk about it together. And the way that you can reach me is vanessaperrycounselor@gmail.com. My website is www.vanessaperry.net.
And I am Grace Evergreen, the other half of Freud's Angels. To connect with our podcast, please go to freudsangels.com. My offer was, Vanessa and I have a unique duo session where we call it trauma cleanse. Whereas you work with Vanessa, something you're working with, maybe you're ready to heal a trauma you've been working, or you're ready to just do the final push through to work through it, to discover it, wherever you're at, we meet you in that space. And then after you have her session with her, you come and see me. We do some energy clearing, working on that cellular memory to make sure that we create a very loving environment so we don't create that vacuum, so to speak. I am an angel reader, intuitive. I'm also an energy healer, multiple modalities. I teach what's called the Healing Angel Protocol. It's a newer modality that's been on scene. I currently have 3 classes running, and it is the biggest one that's impacted my life that I've learned. So you can reach me at graceevergreen@outlook.com, or my website is graceevergreen.com. Thanks, guys. And I appreciate all of you who are here, especially all of us panel members. You guys are amazing. I love all of you. Thank you.
Yes, and we also, that trauma cleanse, we are offering that at a discount that should be in there for $150 instead of $222. So it's a pretty deep discount. So you can reach us on our website, freudsangels.com or freudsangels@gmail.com.
Great, thank you, Adria, and then Lisa.
So my name is Adria, and I can be reached best through my website, which is www.artandchannel.com. There's a contact form there, so that'll funnel through to me. I offer one-on-one clarity sessions using the guidance and wisdom of the Tarot. And I also make sacred tools and alchemy products, especially with the element of water. My special for the MeWe panel event is 20% off alchemy products, which is just MeWe20 for the discount code. And I just bottled this week, my latest Gem Essence Energy Spray, which is Mother of the Rose. And it is, it's basically the Mother's Day gift that I want to receive. But I use like the highest grade rose oils from 5 different varietals, along with white rose otto that's used a lot for ceremony. And it's mixed in a medium of water that I hand collected from the headwaters of the Sacramento River. And then I supercharged it under the full moon in Libra in April, just a couple weeks ago, with rose quartz and clear quartz. And so it is loaded and ready to go. And I'm really excited about this offering. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of this panel. And I echo, like, what a wonderful initiation for me to come into a MeWe event. This is just like, I feel just blown away with love and wisdom, and just, I'm so honored to have been a part of this and be on this panel with all of you and to serve in this way. So thank you so much, Laureli, and all of you.
Thank you. Yes, wonderful that we do this together. Lisa.
Sure. Thank you so much. I am Lisa Stewart of Sigil Magic Goddess. I'm an intuitive business coach, and I help mystics find the courage to co-create their business vision with spirit so that you can grow your confidence and your income. And the one thing that gets me charged up is when people find the courage to create and inspire themselves to keep going and pursuing their dreams. So this all speaks to my movement, helping people find the courage to co-create with spirit. And of course, there are a variety of ways that we can work together. So if you're feeling stuck, uninspired, or just want to get started in your business, we can conjure some magic together. I've got various consulting packages, tarot and oracle readings, workshops, digital planners, all for your magical business. And you'll find a number of those as specials in the chat as well. And of course, being a business coach is also helping you with your brand messaging, your design, your marketing, your websites. I've got a workshop coming up next month called Brand Your Magic Message. And if you don't like selling, but makes you queasy, tell you what, your brand messaging is going to make selling so much easier. You're going to feel like you're not even selling. So consider checking that out. And again, I'm Lisa Stewart of sigilmagicgoddess.com. Thank you so much. And yes, I loved being here with all of you here today. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach, matchmaker. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions on your path. You can find out more about me at LaureliShimayo.com. It's LaureliShimayo.com. And my sessions are 40% off if you want to sign up for something promptly after being here today. We've got tons of other events coming up for MeWe fairs. I think I read the online ones earlier, and they mentioned the in-person ones. I said earlier, we're going to be in Bellevue at the Embassy Suites this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We are so full 2 weeks before the fair that we got an extra room. So we are now filling up our extra room. We've got 55 booths so far. Yeah, we've got over 20 talks scheduled, and we're really excited to be there with you this weekend. Yeah, running, all the different things happening. And then May 14 and 15, we're going to be about an hour and a half north of Seattle on Anacortes. We're at a beautiful spot called Fidalgo Bay Resort. We're right on the water. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. We're on native lands. We're looking forward to being there with you. We've still got lots of space in that event. It's our first time up there. And then we're going to be back in Linwood at another Embassy Suites, June 11 and 12. Those are the ones that are coming up. And we've got more in July and August. I've never run fairs in the summer before. It's well, not in many, many years. I say it's this is a different year, a new year, and so we're also running things during the summer. And our online events we have coming up next Monday. We have a panel May 2 from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Hypnosis, soul integration, and embodiment. Next Wednesday, May 4, our MeWe Metaphysics and Intuition Practice Circle. And I don't remember who's running that with me. Are you running that with me? I have to go look up who's running that one with me. Do I remember? Oh, I know. I think I had 2 other people volunteer. So 2 other practitioners that are not on the panel tonight. And then Monday, May 9, we have an Anything and Everything panel. That's a training panel. So it's half price to ask a question of the panel. That is for people that are just starting to practice, people that are practicing any modality, or people that are getting practice being on stage in this format that don't have experience doing this and want some support from those of us that are more experienced. And I make opportunities for practitioners if you're interested in doing some of these events with us. We also do learning circles where we offer exercises for people opening up their intuition. Friday, May 13, we have a panel on witchcraft and alchemy. Wednesday, June 1, we have our fair where we're going to have about 16 practitioners. So excited to be with you again. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Practitioners, it's been great being with you. Attendees, thank you so much for holding space, for learning with us, for asking great questions. We all do this together, MeWeFairs.com. All right, turn off the recording.